Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? I hope you're all doing well. It is Tuesday, the 14th of January, 2025 at 6 p.m. UK time, where we are with episode 55 of the Snowflake Corner, where we go to different corners of the globe, I like to call it, outside the UK, looking at different various stories. We've got quite a few interesting ones to cover. One or two that are a couple of days old, some are relatively new as well. So a bit on Israel and Gaza, a bit on Ukraine. Going to be talking about TikTok, and could that be sold to Elon Musk? We'll cover a story on that as well. A bit in Myanmar. And we'll talk about the California fires, because I haven't really, the fires in Los Angeles, because we haven't really covered it here on this channel. So I did want to discuss that as well. But we are dual streaming live on youtube.com/Reganelite and on twitch.tv/Reganelite1. So feel free to pop in and say hello if you want to as well. And yes, I'm aware it is 6 p.m. and not 7 p.m. that I am live streaming this. I wanted to, I may make it the normal time frame, just for the benefit in the future, but we'll have to wait and see how it goes. Oh, just one problem here. I want to make sure my Twitch chat is available when need be for you guys. I've got so many sticky notes here. I've got an announcement to make on Friday as well for you guys as well, which is really, really good. But I hope you guys are all doing well. Anyway, those who are lurking in the background. Right, let's get started with the first story here. This one is from Al Jazeera here. It is regarding Myanmar. So Myanmar's rebels liberate a territory. Administrating it is the next battle. So Al Jazeera features areas liberated from the military in the Karen state, where establishing a civil administration is the task for pro-democracy forces. So we did cover this a while ago, where they had liberated certain territories. So it's obviously a good sign in the right direction that but the rebels are still seeming to gain ground. For context behind this has been Myanmar is in a civil war right now, but the military junta against what you would call like the Rebel Alliance, a group of not just one faction but multiple different factions all working together to try and overthrow the military junta that seized power from the pro-democracy government a few years ago, and its leader is still in prison on the grounds of that as well. And this has been going on ever since then. Basically, the people rose up and basically have formed their own rebellion to try and overthrow this government. And so far, they have been successful in seizing territories. How long this is going to go on, I don't know. But obviously, many innocent people have suffered and died as a result. Many people who have been living under the military junta many young men have been forced and conscripted to join the army against their will as well. So this has been a long this has been a long couple of wars. But again, this is because of where it is situated in the world. It's not one that's really talked about a lot. You know, we talk a lot about the Middle East, we talk about Ukraine, and obviously here on this channel specifically talk a lot about Sudan. But it's one that's very hard to get a lot of info on, considering where it is in the world as well. So let's dive into this, and this obviously from Al Jazeera for those who know reference. I'm going to mispronounce by a couple of names there, so I do apologise in advance. So, Vrod Heidi was a tiny speck amid a march of hundreds of thousands that snacked away through the streets of Yangon in 2021, demanding a return to democracy after Myanmar's military seized power. We had signboards and they had guns, she said, recounting with bitterness the events of March 2021. In the interventing 4 years, much has changed for Phai Tai and her generation in Myanmar, after the military slaughtered hundreds in bloody crackdowns on those pro-democracy protesters. Young people fled to territories controlled by ethnic armed groups in Myanmar's border regions with Thailand, India and China. Tai Hai went too. Ethnically part Karen, her choice was obvious. Yeah, anyone who tried to speak up were taken down. She sought refuge with the Karen National Union, Myanmar's oldest ethnic armed group, which has been fighting for political autonomy for the Karen people since the 1940s in Myanmar's eastern Karen state, also known as the Karen state. Speaking with an interview of Al Jazeera in Karen state recently, Tai Hai told how she was so furious at the military for seizing power that she wanted to become a rebel soldier. All new arrivals in KNU's territory had to undergo a survival course, which included weapons training, marching long distance in rugged terrain, and basic self-defense. Firing the gun, Hugh High remembers, gave her a feeling of strength after powerlessly watching the military massacres her fellow protesters. Now her face crinkles into huge smiles when she says, "I love guns." Guns are not good. Guns are bad. I'm just saying. But being short and slight, she struggled to compete even the basic survival courses. I knew she would not pass the KNU's real military training. I came here to join the revolution, but as a woman, there are more barriers, she said. Mentally, I want to do it, but I physically can't. So with her background in education and ability to speak Karen, Tai Hai and her husband instead opened a school accredited by the KNU, where they teach more than 100 children who have been displaced by the conflict. The school is concealed in the forest in eastern Myanmar because of military tendencies to launch airstrikes into Karen parallel public services, including schools and hospitals. The bombing aims to destroy the emergency and administration structures that lend legitimacy to Karen's autonomy. That's pretty bad. They tried to targeting the schools, obviously trying to keep them silent as well. Unlike schools in the military regime at control, Taihi explained that her school teaches children in the Karen language. It teaches a Karen center vision of Myanmar's history that included the decades of oppression that Karen faced, which is often left out of official narratives. The Karen might have fought for their autonomy for decades, but as newer pro-democracy teams force up with ethnic armed groups, the Karen long similarly in conflict with Myanmar's military, a majority ethnic Burma force has exploded in intensity. Particularly in the last year, the military has lost huge swathes of territory in the borderlands, including nearly all of Rakhine State in the west and North Shan State in the east, as well as large chunks of Karen State in the north, as well as more of the Karen State. But as fighters take more and more territory, they are faced with new challenges administrating it. Yeah, because it's all well and good seizing territory, but you've got to manage that territory as well. Seized from the military march, Karagon in Karen State has been spared the devastating airstrikes that have plagued other large towns run by resistant forces. During Al Jazeera's recent visit to Karagon, the town's restaurants were filled with civilians and Karen troops eating Burman curry. Shops were open and selling household goods and traditional Karen fabrics, while the main road was backed up with traffic. It's a good sign, obviously, to see that there's population kind of returning to somewhat of a normality of some sorts. Sal Khan, the town's 33-year-old KNU appointed administrator, said he had big plans for the liberated territory. We would like to finish public works, get electricity and water up, running, and clean up the plastic and the overgrown areas, said Sal Khan, who was officially appointed interim administrator, with an election planned after 1 year. He agreed to eventually being popularly elected rather than appointed. If it's what the people want, I will take the position. If they choose somebody else, I will pass it on, he told Al Jazeera. That's the way to put it. Sal Khan said the military's regime totally neglected the people of this town. So this is the KNLR troops on patrol in November 2024 at a military base seized from the Myanmar military there in the Taiging Nangong area of the Karen State there. Growing up in Kalagon, Sol Khan, I know I mispronounced the name, guys, told how he would hike up the top of the hill near the town with a friend. And from there, they would stretch the clusters of buildings around the dusty main road. The winding river that nourishes the farms and a nearby mountain range that forms borders with Thailand. And when he got older, he turned to photography, making a living from wedding shoots. But when the COVID-19 pandemic hit Myanmar in 2020, he answered another calling, launching a social welfare organisation. After the military coup, the situation worsened further. The healthcare system broke down, so my friends and I volunteered to help take care of the people, he said. And Sal Khan is relatively new to the business of running a parallel administration. The KNU have been doing this for decades, usually a bit smaller, rural pockets of territory. Kanawaskal Township Secretary Mia Am served as village lecturer for 12 years before being elected to his current role, the third most senior in the township. He told Al Jazeera how years of war and a lack of human resources have hampered the local economy. and undermine the KNU's ability to provide public services. There are no factories, no industry. You can't work here to support your family, he said, explaining that living on the conflict and hardships, young people would move to live in nearby Thailand. But the military regime, cruelly, it's often its own worst enemy. He has inspired more fervent resistance and driven human resources into the arms of enemies. The former Myanmar police officer, Wing Hyung, 33, joined the KNU rather than follow orders to arrest and abuse pro-democracy activists. I always wanted to be a police officer since I was young, which Hyung had said. And I believe the police were good and tried to help people, he said, adding that the reality was a culture of corruption, discrimination and impunity. Wei Hyung, who is a member of the Bana ethnic minority in Myanmar, said police authorities threatened their Karen colleagues very unfairly. If any of them made a small mistake, they gave them a very harsh punishment, he said, recounting one Karen officer returned to the barracks 1 hour late and was put in a prison cell for 24 hours. That's very, very cruel. Daily Blase, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Guys, make sure you do check out Daily Blase's YouTube channel for all the wonderful content that he does. And do check out his live streams every Friday, Friday Frolics at 5 p.m. as well. There's definitely a lot of fun with that as well. And good evening, Zhao, who's just popped in there as well. Wick Young said he submitted resignation letters multiple times in the 10 years of police service. Each time they were rejected. And after the 2021 coup, he fled with his wife and daughter to the Karen-controlled territory, where he was subjected to a thorough background check and a trust-building observation period. It says this KNU police officers in Hyuk Center walking in November 2024 past the school destroyed during the fighting in the Kala town there in the Karen state. That was once a school, and it's now just a heaving pile of rubble. It's terrible. And you can see in the picture there, you can see the bullets on the buildings there. So there was plenty of fighting. You can tell from the looks of that as well. Steam Banker, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Now he is fully integrated into the KNU's police force, reacting to the military's brutality in a sense that the revolution is on the verge of victory. Younger educated professionals like Tai He and people within years of government service, such as Wing Young, have come to fill human resource gaps in the administrations of a new liberated area. But though the fight to topple the military would just take a few months, or at most a few years. Despite a string of defeats and other unprecedented setbacks, the military has managed to hold on. It's like running on a treadmill, Tai Hai said of the revolution gains, but continued shortcomings. We feel like we are going so fast, but we don't go very far, she said. Yeah, because this war is not over. This war is not over. It may seem that way, but there's still a lot to fight for. But very interesting piece there from Al Jazeera being on the ground there, and you can see some of the rubble and the devastation that they go through. And yeah, I saw this one a couple of days ago, and I wanted to cover this here with you guys because I do think, you know, we don't talk a lot about Myanmar. We don't talk about the suffering that people have gone through, and my general hope is that I do like to think that in the next couple of months we would see them fall, but I'm not really keen. I'm not too sure that they're going to be able to do that. I really don't know, because they've been held on for quite a while, you know. They have held on for quite a while. Rosemary, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. It's going to be interesting here. They've got also as well, because I've watched the video. The link for it is in the description. I do recommend checking out the videos from Al Jazeera that they have on it as well, because it really is quite insightful into what's really happening inside Myanmar. I do think it's definitely worth a look, guys. But I will try to keep an eye on it as much as I can for you guys. So we're going to be moving from Myanmar, guys, to a very serious something that I have not covered on the channel yet, and it has been going on for quite a while. It's from the Association Press. Firefighters deployed widely as strong winds threaten more Los Angeles neighborhoods, guys. So as you know, the wildfires have been engulfed Los Angeles. Many houses and homes have been destroyed. As a result of these, they've been out of control. The firefighters have done as much as they possibly can to contain it. There's been a difficulty of waters. There's a lot of factors into these out of control fires. There's obviously the high winds. There is the dry land because they've not had rain for over a year. So climate has played a part in that. The high winds going in a certain direction has contributed to the fires shifting as well. And there's been issues. There have been issues around water as well, as there's been a factor in that as well. But the most important thing is the well-being of everyone who lives in these towns and areas. And my hope is that everybody's okay and they are safe. I do know some one or two, because obviously, as you guys know, I'm a big wrestling fan. One or two wrestlers went MIA when it all started, but they were purportedly okay, which I was very happy to hear as well. But one of the really sad things about these wildfires, and this is the thing that really upsets me the most about it when I have this story, guys, is that a lot of the insurance companies are not paying out for Americans who have lost absolutely everything. And that's absolutely brutal for them, because their entire lives have been destroyed and they have absolutely nothing. And the insurance companies, if they have insurance, they should be covered by this. And it doesn't look like that some people are going to have absolutely anything. I know there are many Americans struggling right now, cost of living and paying the bills and whatnot, but these people need all the help they can get. It's not just about putting out these fires and then that's the end of it. No, there's a great deal of rebuilding in California that's going to need to be done. How much of that they're going to get from the new administration is questionable, and I do think that is very questionable indeed. We do know that the President Joe Biden, between now and the 20th, is doing everything he can to support them in this situation with as much resources and everything that they can. But it is an absolutely horrible situation for sure. So far, the equivalent to 1.5 Lisbon City has burnt in California. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Yeah, it's absolutely horrible. But they haven't had rain for over a year. That's really bad for them. Over a year. That's really concerning for sure. The only consolation is this hasn't happened. If this happened next year, they would not get as much support as they need right now. So weary and anxious from a week of massive infernos burning around Los Angeles, Southern California residents face a dire new wildfire warning on Tuesday and prepared to flee at the moment's notice as fire-fueled winds blasted across the scarred landscape. The dangerous winds, predicted to reach a near hurricane force in some areas, were likely to peak Tuesday morning. A beefed-up firefighting force was in place to attack flare-ups and a new blaze. A week after the first fires began, the flames have destroyed thousands of homes and killed at least 24 people. So this is a source from the Integrated Reporting of Wildfire Fire Information National Interagency Fire Center here. So I suppose these are where the majority of the fires have been, from the looks of it there. And National Forest as well. Pretty brutal, guys. Residents gather up their pets and family photos in case they have to make a hasty escape. Tabitha Charlson said she was teething on the edge, consistently fearing her neighborhood could be next. Our cats are ready to go. We have their carriers by the door, prepped with their little stuffed animals and things like that, Charlson said. It's like, how do I take care of myself? And what are the things that will ground me as a human and remind me of my background and my life and my family? Search teams looked for victims' remains at homes at Eaton Fire. That was on Saturday. The disaster has brought out the best and the worst in people. 9 people have been charged with looting, including a group that stole an Emmy Award from a house that had been evacuated, says Los Angeles District Council Attorney Natalie Hochman. The pair pillaged more than $200,000 worth of items in a neighborhood filled with mansions, he said. Yeah, because the homes have been evacuated, because of obviously the fires and that, some people have tried to take advantage of looting the places. And there was that stupid story that came out. Some idiot on Twitter, I can't remember who it was. Someone tried to claim that. Oh, it was Elon Musk who was claiming that, that it's not against the law to raid homes or something, which is complete nonsense. Like, since when did the law change on that? Dry winds gusted early on Tuesday up to 50 miles an hour in the mountains around LA, said meteorologist Todd Hall of the National Weather Service. Strong winds were expected to continue through to midday, and Wednesday could carry fire sparking embers miles ahead of the fire lines and trigger fire tornadoes, he said. Fire tornadoes, that would be really bad. Much of Southern California was under an elevated fire risk on Tuesday, affecting more than 20 million people from San Diego to the far north of Los Angeles. That's really scary. A fire tornado would be really scary. It would just be out. You would not be able to control that. You would not be able to control that. Right in the bullseye are inland areas north of LA, including densely populated Thousands Oaks, Northridge, and Sami Valley, forecasters have said. The Weather Service included a rare warning for Tuesday. The winds combined with severe dry conditions have created a particularly dangerous situation, meaning that any new fires could explode in size. Planes doused homes and hillsides with bright pink fire-resistant chemicals, while crew and fire engines deployed particularly vulnerable spots and with dry brush. Dozens of additional water trucks rolled in to replenish supplies after hydrants ran dry last week when the two largest fires erupted. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass and other officials who have faced criticism over their initial response to the fires expressed confidence Monday that the region was ready to face a new threat, with scores of additional firefighters brought in from around the US as well as Canada and Mexico. We're absolutely better prepared, LA County Fire Chief Anthony Moronsi said when asked what will be different from a week ago, when the hurricane-force winds propelled multiple fires across the Parachase Bushville region that has seen almost no rain in more than 8 months. I guess that's the other thing, is trying to cut off. Like they say, they put a lot of chemicals and whatnot on top of the buildings. If that stops it spreading, that's a good thing. But if you're getting tornadoes, especially ones with fire in them, you're not going to be able to stop that. It's going to be very difficult to stop that. Although winds were not expected to reach the same fierce speeds seen last week, they could ground firefighting aircraft, Barun said, warning if winds reach 70 miles an hour, it's going to be very difficult to contain that fire. More than a dozen wildfires have broken out in Southern California since the beginning of the year, mostly of the greater Los Angeles area. A blaze Monday night in the dry riverbed in agriculture area in Oxford, northwest of Los Angeles. It tore through tall branches before firefighters stopped its progress, the Ventura County Fire Department has said. Fire officials advised residents in high-risk areas to just leave home and not wait for formal evacuation orders if they sense danger. Yeah, if you can get out now. Don't take the risk. Don't wait to be told. Just get out. That's exactly what Tim Khan of La Cresciata did last week when the fire started. Feeling sick from the smoky air and fearful of nearby fire spreading, Khan and his brothers packed up and they stayed away from the neighborhood. Items laid out for people affected by the wildfires. This was yesterday as well. More photos there. And yes, absolutely brutal. Like completely gone there. Obviously, lots of questions will be asked about how this happened, why this happened, and whatnot, and all these kind of things. I know the Republicans are trying to throw this all on the Democrats. But let's be clear about this. It is just as much to do with climate change than anything. Yes, of course, there is a question about water, and obviously they've had not had rain for a year as well, and that's definitely played a factor. Wondering, Pagan, good to see you there, mate. Hope you're doing well. But let's make no mistake about it. Climate has played an impact on this, without a shadow of a doubt. Climate change has played an impact on this. When are they going to get rain again, Los Angeles? When are they going to get it again? I think that's a good question. If they continue to have these dry weathers, it's not very good for them. That's for sure. I just hope there's not too many losses of life. But my not only that, it's just I just feel like so many people their lives are going to be completely destroyed, and they're not going to get any help. They'll get some, like, they're not going to get like the values and the the values and the items and livelihoods that they have, they're not going to be able to recover it because of dodgy insurers that are out there, I'm afraid. And it's a really sad state of affairs, guys. The next story I've got for you guys is one I've been wanting to talk about for quite a while, guys. We are sticking with America here, but this was that the right? Yeah, that is the right one. But this is one that's really interesting. So yeah, I really went with a different article, and then I changed it, and I saw this one as well. So we honestly don't know the answer to this, guys, and this is the really want to stress this. So TikTok says a report of possible sale to Musk is pure fiction. So TikTok, I've come flat out and dismissed this here, apparently. So this came out today. TikTok has called a report that China is considering allowing the sale of the social media company's US operations to Elon Musk pure fiction. Now, when I first heard this story, because a friend of mine shared it, who's not really into news and politics, but he shared it to me because we're wrestling pals and whatnot. And yeah, both of us have TikTok accounts that are doing really well. And we both saw the story. Obviously, we were very devastated because we know what Elon Musk has done to Twitter. He's absolutely destroyed it, and our fears is that he's going to do the same to TikTok if he's allowed to take it over. Now, it's still possible. It's unlikely, but it's still possible, because the thing is, they have a deadline. TikTok have a deadline to sell up to an American owner in order to stay within America before being banned in America. My hope is that regardless of what happens, generally actually part of me feels like that maybe TikTok shouldn't be sold, and maybe let it get sold out of America. And is it going to hurt? Of course it's going to hurt, but it just means that people aren't going to see what's going on TikTok. The other sad thing about it as well is that, and I've said this before on Discord and other chats about this, is that a lot of content creators who are from America will not be able to use the platform anymore, and they'll be forced to use other platforms, i.e. YouTube, where they're going to be watching them on YouTube instead of watching my content instead, guys, which is obviously sucks a lot. So I guess, do want to see it owned, but definitely do want to see it by Elon Musk. But they are stating it's pure fiction. But the clock is ticking on TikTok to resolve this. Otherwise, they may find themselves gone. Phil McCracken, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. In the same way that houses in England are built on floodplains and then completely shocked when they're flooded twice a year. Building wooden houses in a desert that has been artificially wooden on them. I mean, couldn't agree more with you, Phil, on that. Yeah. I mean, why are we not designing houses to be prepared for climate, for any kinds of climate, especially in the climates in the areas where they are? It's just logic. It makes logical sense. But no, we know we don't do it that way for some reason. You don't do it that way for some reason. So TikTok has called on a report that China is considering allowing the sale of social media companies' US operations to Elon Musk pure fiction. The firm's commitment came in response to a report by Bloomberg that Chinese officials are weighing an option that could see its business in America being sold to the world's richest person if the US Supreme Court upholds a ban on the app. Supreme Court justices are due to rule on a law that sets a 19th January deadline for TikTok to either sell its US operations or face a ban in the country. TikTok has repeatedly said that it will not sell its US operation. We can't be expected to comment on pure fiction, a TikTok spokesperson had told the BBC News. Bloomberg reported, citing people familiar with the matter, that one possible scenario being considered by Chinese officials would see Musk's ex-social media platform take control of TikTok's US operations. Now, quite clearly, let's be very clear here. They're saying, just from that, they're saying, because what Bloomberg's report was citing, US operations. So, not the whole platform, US operations is what they're saying. So specifically giving the operations of the US, of what Americans see basically by him, but the rest of the world would obviously be run still by them. This is what Bloomberg has reported. X did not immediately reply to the BBC's request for comment. Martin Briggs, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Musk's close ally, US President-elect Donald Trump, who is set to return to the White House on January 20th of January. Last month, Trump urged the Supreme Court to delay its decision until he takes office to enable him to seek a political resolution. So Donald Trump's quite interested in this one because he's not keen on banning TikTok outright. Believe it or not, he's not keen on banning it outright. So he might leave those within Congress and the Supreme Court to kind of just like wait for me to come in office. I think he might be doing that. His lawyers filed a legal brief with the court saying that Trump opposes banning TikTok. Yeah, I thought so. And he seeks the ability to resolve the issue at hand through political means once he takes office. That came a week after Trump met TikTok chief executive Shou Zi-Chung at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida. On Monday, 2 Democratic lawmakers, Senator Edward Markey and Representative Raul Color, also called on Congress and President Joe Biden to extend the January 19th deadline. During a Supreme Court hearing last week, justices appealed to incline to uphold the legislation and stick to the deadline. During nearly 3 hours of arguments, the 9 justices returned time and again to the national security concerns that give rise to the law. This is absolute nonsense. The national security... We know what this is, guys. It's because China are not, because they're not a capitalist they're just not, then because they're seen differently or they're not in cahoots with the other social media companies. That's why they want them gone. They want them gone. The Biden administration has argued that without sale, TikTok could be used by China as a tool for spying for political manipulation. This is the smokescreen they're using because it's run by China. This is the smokescreen they have on it. The company has repeatedly denied any influence by the Chinese Communist Party and has said the law to ban it in the US violates the First Amendment free speech rights of its users. I don't agree with that assessment, if I'm honest. Like, I will say this, though. I will say this about TikTok. I do get annoyed when some of my short videos that are perfectly fine and don't get any monetizing issues on YouTube, when I put them on TikTok, sometimes they get community violations, so they get removed by TikTokers. I do get that, guys, and I do hate that. But the difference is they actually push. You can start a TikTok channel with nothing, and if you push it and if you just start putting out videos on a certain subject, it will push. Like I didn't expect the TikTok when I started it would take off as well as it has, but I've had over 800,000 views on TikTok, on my TikTok account since I started putting shorts on there. But it's been I get it. I get the security thing. You just don't trust the platform, guys. It's just because it's Chinese. That's all it is. And part of me feels like they're using it as a reason as well, But hey ho, we'll see what you guys think in a moment. But let's take a little break, guys. Let's take a little break from all of this. I think we need to find a funny video here, and I've got one for you guys. It's actually a new one that's come from Exploding Heads. Unfortunately, Colin from Portsmouth is not there, I'm afraid, guys. Sorry to disappoint those who were expecting Colin from Portsmouth, but maybe this one is. But the headline is, a CEO announces the company is now, guess what? It's fully flat. I was about to say it. It's now fully fascist. Let's hear what they have to say.
In light of the changing political climate, a leading CEO has announced that his company is to become full fascist. He's here on the line now. Good morning.
Hello, delighted to be here.
Now, it was a toss-up for you whether to be kind to everyone or to embrace full fascism, but world events have shaped your thinking, haven't they?
Yeah, I'm very relieved we are that it's the latter. We spent ages umming and ahhing as to whether we should treat everyone as equal, but no, I'm delighted to announce that from now on, our products, Dry Nights adult diapers, will be a full-blown fascist entity.
An amazing turnaround, and you've received great coverage on the BBC and Sky News. Jealous.
Oh, yes. Yeah, very pleased with that. Yeah, can I just say, we are still looking to welcome our customers from LGBTQ plus communities and ethnic minorities, just not as much as mainstream accepted people.
And you announced here that your packaging will embrace total free speech, free from fact-checking.
Yeah, very important that. We've been extremely limited in what we're able to write on our packaging, but I must say it's so liberating to be able to write whatever we f***ing well want on the side of our boxes, and f*** you for thinking otherwise.
Thank you for your time.
F*** you very much.
In light of...
It's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. Oh, it's absolutely insane. Riverroll, good to see you there, buddy. I hope you're doing well. Anybody else lurking in as well who's happened to be just lurking in here as well? Guys, we've got a couple more stories to cover here on Snowflake Forums. I probably might do it on... I might start doing it at 6 o'clock going forward, actually. Just so people can check out other stuff as well. But guys, just a reminder before I go to the next story, if you haven't already, please hit the like button, we greatly appreciate, and share this across social media so others are notified of this video. If you're on Twitch, do hit that follow button, be greatly appreciated. If you're not a subscriber already, do consider subscribing to the YouTube channel, be greatly appreciated. If you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, do consider becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. Being a YouTube member gets you access to custom emojis that you have down in below. It's for you're a member. You also get access to the members community posts whenever I post them, and whenever you comment on my videos, you will always get a response from me on whatever video it is as well. Just give me a chance to respond at some point, but I do respond to anyone whenever it's a member's comment. And also, if you decide to become a $1.99 member, you get early access to additional content. So content that is dropping tomorrow is already available for those already who have that. So thank you to everyone and anyone who has supported me in any way, shape or form. It's greatly appreciated. Other ways you can do is by buying me a coffee. Link for that's down below. And also joining me on Rumble or Patreon as well for exclusive content on there. I did put a post up there today for Patreon members. I am behind on that stock stuff at the moment, so I will get to that at some point, so I do apologize. No worries, Martins, thanks for popping in, greatly appreciate it. So the next story I've got for you guys, 1, 2, 3. Oh, that doesn't feel right. That one seems like that one. For some reason this is not. Hold on, I need to adjust my one. I thought I had this sorted, apparently I did not. So I got it from Yahoo News, but it's actually Euronews. But I'm not using Euronews because they want all my cookies, and I said no. Neutral Switzerland is to join the EU's military mobility project. Is this something that everyone's like, huh? What's going on here? I don't think this means that Switzerland are turning, are changing their position in any way, shape, or form. I just think they're using it as a means to just continue to have to put their soldiers to use and whatnot. I don't think this is something that's this is something like Switzerland could be going down that path. It's entirely possible. It may change in the future, but they are a very neutral country. But I think it's just for them, there is an opportunity to take part in the mobility project, and why not? And I think that's the best way to look at it. Number 3, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. So let's read a bit more into this. So Switzerland will join the EU's military mobility project, which aims to ensure the rapid and smooth movement of military staff, equipment and assets after member states agreed on Monday evening to send the country an official invitation. The Federal Council of the neutral country decided last August that Switzerland would participate in the EU initiative to cut red tape when mobilising armies through or between EU member states, whether by rail, road, air or sea. But member states still have to give the final go-ahead for the Netherlands, the project's coordinator, to send the official letter of invitation. Switzerland's participation in the project is comparable with the principle of neutrality, as it does not entail any legal or de facto commitment to collective defence. The Federal Department of Defence, Civil Protections and Sports (DDPS) had told Euronews. Other non-EU countries, such as the United States, Canada, Norway and the United Kingdom, are also part of the Permanent Structured Cooperation, the PESCO project, which is designed to deepen defence cooperations between member states, except neutral Malta, which does not participate in the PCSCO, and NATO partners. The EU's mobility initiative, such as a Schengen for the armed forces, enables member states' troops to respond more quickly and effectively to crises at the blocs, external borders and beyond, both for EU operations and for deployments in other multilateral settings such as NATO, including at short notice and on a large scale. An action on military mobility 2022-2026 also aims to strengthen the preparedness and resilience of transport infrastructure such as railway, roads, waterways and airport use for civil and military purposes. Following the invitation of the member states, Switzerland now only needs to conclude an administrative agreement to become a formal member. The modalities of cooperation will be set out in a non-binding administrative arrangement. The country also intends to join the Cyber Ranges Federation project, coordinated by Estonia since 2021, to improve the quality of training for the Swiss armed forces and deepening their interoperability. The two projects, Cyber Range Federation and Military Mobility, offer the opportunity to expand international cooperation between armed forces and thus strengthening Switzerland's national defence capabilities and contributions to European security, the DDPS has said. I'm getting there, guys. For the time being, Switzerland does not intend to participate in other PCS-CO projects, but the possibility remains in the future. So, there's nothing wrong with Switzerland having cooperation. I mean, we know that they have cooperations and agreements and all that kind of stuff anyway. So, if it helps, if it improves the Swiss army, then why not, is what I would say. Now, will this create something of, Switzerland are joining the EU or Switzerland are breaking their neutrality? Because that's what some right-wingers or nut jobs will say. No, they're not going to. They're going to stay neutral. They're remaining neutral. They just see it as an opportunity for them to, get some more experience for their bodies and improve relations and cooperation with those around them. And it makes sense. It makes sense to do so. And then there's nothing really in this that says to me that Switzerland are gearing up for war or anything like that. I don't buy that premise in any way, shape or form. But I thought it was a very interesting one to share because it might give people that impression, but I don't think that's going to be the case anyway. But what do you guys honestly think? Let me see what you guys are saying in the comments. Wake up and smell the rosemaries. The EU army, Switzerland will be an observer. The Brexiteers can start saying, "I told you so." Trump caused this. Yeah, they're not participating. They're just observing. Why is the screen? Oh, my screen is being really, really slow here. I'll have to see it look from this from my phone. Mr. E, thank you so much for being a supporter. Again, much appreciated. And Martin Brisk for being a member for 6 months. Thank you guys both for your support. I really appreciate it. Trump's skin's planning on invading Italy. Yeah. He talked about they mentioned the Highlands, Scotland. That's what Trump's going after when he gets Greenland. He's gonna boot out the SNP. Trump gonna invade Scotland. That story. Maybe Switzerland knows something we don't. No, I wouldn't go that far on it if I'm honest. To be fair, I feel stone ponderous after doing my NLP video. It just takes a while to settle down. Says number 3. I just heard of Tony Slattery's passing. For those of us of a certain age, he was a great comic talent. R.I.P. I'm sure I've heard that name before, Mithril. It's always sad when we lose people. It's always sad when we lose good people. Yeah, may he rest in peace indeed. I'm sure I've heard that name. I'm sure the name rings a bell somewhere to me. I can't quite put my finger on it. I'll have to have a look. But thanks for sharing that. The Canadians that I met weren't keen on the American culture. No, I don't think they are keen, if I'm honest, either. Really wish people would see as I do, are specialists in the first that we know us as one angry pagan, that is actually conscious of our own evolution and are consistently able to affect it going forward. Indeed, indeed. I'm sure you guys might, I would say if you haven't, in terms of like climate and whatnot, if you haven't seen I just finished watching, before I came on the live stream, guys, I finished watching the interview that Aaron Baswani of Narara Media had, the one that Rob Spear highlighted, and yeah, that was quite an eye-opener, to be fair, guys, quite an eye-opener. But let's talk about something that is happening, something else that's also happening, guys, something that could happen, shall we say. I'm still not convinced, but they are bigging it up quite a bit in the media. It's from Middle Eastern Eye. Israeli officials struggle to conceal frustrations as Gaza truce nears. So Qatari negotiations said final ceasefire details have been discussed with Biden and Trump officials, both in attendance in Doha. I think it's interesting that Biden and Trump officials are both in attendance in Doha here. to try and batter out something here of the ceasefire. I'm not buying it. I said at the start when the first of these talks were, I'm not buying it because I don't buy the fact that Israel are serious about this. What Hamas don't want to do is give Israel the control of the Gaza. They don't want them to have that. They don't want having any control. And my general consensus and belief is that Israel must not have any control whatsoever of Gaza. But they will not budge on that. I mean, obviously, I'm only speculating what is being said. But one of the things that I've always stated is saying is in the best interest is to have UN peacekeepers instead manage Gaza. I know no one will. I know it won't happen. I know it's not going to happen, guys. But I know there were other peacekeepers that will be deployed to look after it as well. I think it was UAE ones or some other nations' peacekeepers will be used to deploy as well as a potential outcome as well. So there's that option as well. But like, considering what Hamas did, considering what Israel have done, it's very, very hard. I mean, I do appreciate the fact that they have gotten both sides in the same building. This is what in the same building, which is an achievement in of itself. But yeah, I just don't see this. In my opinion, I think Hamas. What are they really thinking? Because they know that the line for me, like the red line for me, is giving Israel any control in Gaza. But that's the red line that Israel will not push. And I think it would be really, really bad for the Palestinian people if that line was to be crossed. Yeah, and as Phil McCracken said, no deal without Israel's control in Gaza, red line for Netanyahu. Yeah, Hamas should not. Hamas, in my opinion, I know they're a terrorist organization. I know what they did was horrific on October 7th. But if I'm Hamas, in all seriousness, I would say no to that. I would say, you move on that red line, and we're not moving, despite everything. Because as long as Israel has control, more innocent people will die. More innocent people will die. And also, for those who haven't been following the content on Rumble as well, the numbers are. We've seen reports that it's like 47,000 is what the official numbers that come out from the Palestinian authorities, the official figures. But obviously, we don't know what are Hamas and what are Palestinian. Majority seem to be women and children. Those numbers, new reports have come from studies and whatnot, is that the numbers have been inflating. So, it could be as much as 60, 70, 80,000. But we also know as well that there have been lots of people dead under the buildings and rubbles and whatnot. We know a lot of people are MIA. Some people have just completely missing. So that's only what they're reporting as well. So I said it would not be long before we hit 50,000. We've probably already hit that mark. It's just probably not official. I said at the end of this, if this doesn't happen, I can see over 100,000 Palestinians losing their lives. I can generally see that, given the situation that's taking place. I hate talking about this, guys, because it's so heartbreaking to talk about, and it's even more harder whenever I do the videos on the Snowflake Watch as well. So a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas is at its closest point, according to officials involved in negotiations in Doha, with expectations that an announcement is imminent. Majid Al-Hassani, Qatar's foreign ministry spokesperson, said that final details were being discussed on Tuesday. Negotiations are taking place on final details, but we have ironed out the main obstacles, he told a news conference. Today we are closest to any time in the past to a deal. The situation is still fluid, but we are all upbeat. Joe Biden, the outgoing US president, said an agreement would free the hostages, halt the fight, and provide security to Israel and allow us to significantly surge humanitarian assistance to the Palestinians. A Palestinian source close to the discussions told Reuters that he expected a deal to be finalized on Tuesday, today, if all goes well. I'll have a look after this, guys. The incoming Trump administration appears to have played a significant part in negotiations, according to multiple reports in Israeli media. What concessions has he given? There's no way. If this is true, he's made some big concessions to Israel. Oh, I don't like that. Havis reported that Stephen Witkoff, Trump's Middle Eastern envoy last week, told the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's aides that he would be arriving in Israel on Saturday afternoon. Good morning, Stephen Moore. Hope you're doing well. The aides said that it was the middle of the Sabbath and the meeting would need to occur in the evening, which reportedly was of no interest to Witkoff, who pressed ahead with the meeting regardless. A senior Israeli diplomat told Havis that Witkoff, a Jewish real estate investor without diplomatic background, charges ahead usually aggressively. The Times of Israel reported, citing two Israeli officials, that the meeting between Witkoff and Netanyahu was tense. But it said that while the Prime Minister wanted a deal about bringing only a temporary truce, the agreement being finalized would include a second and third place, making it harder for Israel to resume hostilities. Both Witkoff and Brent McCulloch, Biden's Middle East envoy, attended talks in Doha hosted by Qatari Prime Minister on Tuesday. Stephen Banker, thank you so much for that £5 super chat. Keep up the good work, it's all appreciated. No, thank you for that super chat. That's very kind of you, my friend. I really appreciate your support. Thank you for that super chat. And I hope, in all seriousness, I hope you're having a good day, and I hope you're keeping nice and warm, as is everybody who's watching. Appreciate it. The first stage of the proposed deal would involve the release of 33 captives held in Gaza, including children, women, some of whom are soldiers, men above 50, and the wounded and sick, according to an Israeli official cited by Reuters. A Palestinian source said the first phase would include the release of 1,000 Palestinian prisoners held in Israeli prisons. Talks to reach an agreement for the second phase of the deal, intended to end the war, will probably take place for around 2 weeks after the first phase begins. The deal is expected to involve a phased withdrawal of Israeli troops from Gaza, including along the so-called Philadelphia corridor on the border with Egypt, and the so-called Nazarene corridor in central Gaza. What has Trump offered them? What has Trump offered? Trump has offered something big. If that is in the deal, what has Trump offered? He's offered something. Netanyahu previously stated in the summer that Israeli control of the Gaza boundary with Egypt was critical and will remain indefinitely. The deal would also involve a return for displaced Palestinians to northern Gaza, though it is not yet clear what kind of security arrangement Israel would agree to the north of the Strip. Middle East and I could not independently verify the details of the proposed deal. The agreement has been discussed and has been heavily criticized by senior figures on the Israeli far right. National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir threatened to resign if it is agreed. Whatever, this is the thing. This could blow the government up. This could blow the government up if the deal gets reached here. That deal is being formed. The deal that is being formed is terrible, Ben-Gvir wrote on X. He said he included the release of terrorists from prisons and to northern Gaza, with Israelis withdrawn from Nazarene corridor. He said the deal would effectively erasing the war's achievements that have been achieved with much bloodier by our fighters. Ben-Gvir added, I call on my friend Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich to join me in full cooperation against the terrible deal being crafted, and to inform the Prime Minister clearly and firmly that if this deal goes through, I will resign from the government together. The National Security Minister said he would not bring down Netanyahu, but that resigning was our only choice to prevent the deal being implemented. Wow. He can't win, Netanyahu. Smotrich described this deal as catastrophic. This is the time to continue with our all might to occupy and cleanse the entire strip. This is why these people are disgusting, vile people. To finally take control of humanitarian aid from Hamas. You mean the aid that you guys have been stopping. And to open the gates of hell on Gaza until Hamas surrenders completely and all hostages are returned, the far-right finance minister wrote on X. Absolute crazy man. It's not yet clear. Let me get rid of Discord in case it starts beeping. It's not yet clear if Smotrich will resign from government, a move that would likely bring down Netanyahu's far-right coalition. More than 46,000 Palestinians, the majority of which are women and children, have been killed by Israel's war on Gaza since October 2023. We don't... Cleanse the entire strip. That's definitely okay there. Cleanse the entire strip. Absolutely insane, guys. Absolutely insane people they are. I don't know. I don't think it's still going to go through. I think Netanyahu is too concerned. He will not want to lose power. I feel like he's going to lose. He's going to lose. He's going to be done for if he puts it through, and he knows that. Maybe. Do you know what? I think. Do you know what I think? I think Trump has offered Netanyahu sanctuary in America. Perhaps. I think he's offering him sanctuary in America. Like a way out. For him not to be arrested and pay for his crimes. I think there's some of that. I think Trump has offered him like a way out for him. Because we know that he's wanted by the ICC. The ICJ. And Trump may have offered him a way out, possibly. And that might be why Netanyahu's kind of bending to this a bit. I think so. We saw it live in the RTP1, and one of the smiling Israelis said, "This will be our Riviera," says Jal. I've heard that the UAE has been offering to help administrate Gaza, apparently. Yes, that's it. They were going to do peacekeeping inside Gaza, is my understanding, is what I've heard as well. Sadly, the money is all gone now. My grandmother spent it, all of it. Want to avoid the tax. Was just hoping peace and beautiful surrounded in my retirement. Oh, I'm sorry, Mifrol. I wanted to move to Spain, but to take Spanish citizenship, I wanted to turn a house into a bed and breakfast for natural lovers. That would have been lovely. I would definitely have come if that had come to pass. I'm sorry to hear that. Israelis will do whatever it wants, and no one will even bust the move to do anything about it, says Jal. Number 3, thank you so much for that £2 super chat. It's very kind of you. NLP due day Saturday, 7th of June 2025. Due day NLP. Remind me of that. Remind me of that date. Number 3, Saturday, 7th of June. Yeah, I'm gonna write that down right now. Due day. I'm just gonna write your name as well, so I can message you later about that. Thanks for the £2 super chat. I really appreciate your support. Number 3, guys, do check out Number 3's new YouTube channel as well. Check out the work that he does there. Really appreciate it if you can do. And also check out One Angry Pagans as well. His work there. He will be joining myself and Lee Korn and Power to the People Graham Price this Thursday. So do join us for that show as well, guys. Will be a very interesting show, to say the least. The US wants to sanction the ICC, apparently. Yes, I've heard that story as well. Yeah, I think I covered that in a separate video, I think, on Rumble. I'm pretty sure I did. So, guys, I've got one more story for you guys before we wrap up here. So, if in case any of you guys want to, see geoscopes or maybe something else, give you guys plenty of time up to Max's live stream. I probably am going to stick to doing it at this time slot if it's beneficial to people. So I've just got one for you guys from the Ukraine war. It's from the Kiev Independent. Ukraine denies transferring Air Force personnel to infantry amidst troop shortages. So the Ukrainian Air Force will transfer military personnel en masse to reinforce the ground forces combat brigades in early 2025. Ukrainia Paska had reported today, citing an undisclosed Air Force source. Facing an infantry shortage along the front lines, Ukraine has been forced to make difficult adjustments as Russia ramps up its offensive in Donetsk on Blast. We know that's where they've been pushing the most, pretty much since March, April last year, has been where they've made the most gains in that area in Donetsk. According to Ukrainian Paska, Commander-in-Chief Olegaskar Sosky had issued an order on January 11th to transfer over 5,000 Air Force personnel to ground force units. A senior Air Force officer speaking anonymously said transfers began in spring 2024 and have now reached a critical level, with unit staffing dropping to 50%. If we carry out that order on the 11th, which is sent to us by the Commander-in-Chief, the manning of units will drop to 40%, officers told Ukrainia Paska, adding that even transferring unimportant personnel weakens units' effectiveness, particularly for anti-aircraft missile systems, which rely on cohesive teams. Over 200 personnel are reportedly set to be taken from 7 Air Force brigades, including units defending Kiev. Ukraine's Pasko reported citing an undisclosed source. The Kiev Independent could not independently verify these claims, so we have to put that out. In a January the 14th statement, the General Staff of Ukraine's Armed Forces denied transferring Air Force engineering and aviation personnel to infantry units, emphasizing that technical and flight personnel numbers are increasing. However, some Air Force and other branch personnel after training are being reassigned to strengthening ground brigades due to critical infantry shortage. The General Staff noted that this is a necessary measure to bolster frontline defence, but confirmed that specialists in high-tech roles or those trained abroad on foreign equipment are exempt from transfers. So they are making some adjustments. From the sounds of it, they are making some adjustments there, but they're not making too many adjustments. What they're trying to do is trying to squeeze as much infantry they can. It's pretty much what they're doing, trying to squeeze as much as they can. The other problem is as well is that we know that morale has not been great for the Ukrainian soldiers. It's been really, really difficult for them. We also know, and I've heard this story quite a few times. I don't know how many of you guys have heard this, but there is talk that come Trump's coming in, that negotiations will begin between Ukraine, Russia, and America. I don't know how true that is, but this is what I've been hearing a lot about. I told you guys a while ago that that Russia was already starting its work on the propaganda machine, on preparing its victory propaganda, and they're already building on the work and they're laying the grounds for that to basically portray to the Russian people that they were victorious in Ukraine. So there is also that coming around as well. So there have been significant changes of tune from within Russia. Now, a lot of the citing from what I've heard is from Konstantin from Inside Russia's YouTube channel. I do recommend checking out I know there's other great content providers of it, but he's the one I mainly go to. I'm not saying he's always on the ball, but there are one or two others out there as well. But if he's right about these, then it will mean obviously, and I do hope this war ends this year. It would be quite amazing if by summer 2025 we see this war and the Gaza war end. It would be incredible, but I just don't think the outcomes will not be what I want, will not be what anyone wants. But if it means in the end that people stop dying, I guess it's better than nothing. It's what I have to say on that, guys. Because we do want people to stop dying. That is the main thing. Ukraine must have security guarantees. Yeah, that is a red line for Ukraine. Ukraine's red lines are security guarantees. That is one thing they will want for sure. So, guys, just before we head out on the Snowflake Corner, just a reminder, guys, I'm going to be dropping some funny memes in just a moment for you guys, but I want to remind you guys, tomorrow I have not one, but 2 live streams for you guys. I will be covering Prime Minister's questions at 12 p.m, so feel free to come and join me for that if you're interested in seeing what they say on that. And also, I'll be back at 8 p.m. that evening as well with the Snowflake Watch. We'll be watching and reacting to certain clips and videos online. There will be plenty to cover there as well. So just before there, we got 5 funny memes for you guys here. Let's hope these ones work out for you guys. So I hope you guys find these ones funny anyway. So we only do the funny memes here on the Snowflake Corner. So this is one thing. There's one difference between this and other ones. But I hope you guys enjoy these funny memes. So here we go. What a year, huh? Bro, it's still January. Dogs might be man's best friend, but a cat will never tell the police where your drugs are. This is true. Ewoks are just homeless Care Bears who lost their powers and got hooked on some bad stuff. It's true, isn't it? It's true. All those Care Bears, guys. Her. Oh, I like your sheets. Me. Thanks. It has pockets. And then finally, cool if I park here? Yeah, man. Sure. I am not muted, number 3. Yeah, nice try on that one. The Care Bear ones, yeah, the Care Bear ones was the it's a nice one there, the Care Bear one. I did like that one, to be fair. Yeah, let me know what you guys thought of those funny memes. So guys, covered quite a few stories. Covered what's been happening in Myanmar recently, the wildfires in Los Angeles, TikTok possibly may or may not be bought or sold to Elon Musk, neutral Switzerland we talked about as well, Israel and Gaza, the possible ceasefire that may or may not happen there, and we talked a little bit about the war in Ukraine. So let me know what you guys thought about all these stories and more down in the comments section below. But just before we head out, we need to check the gang behind us because they need to be shown. Ollie is here. Cash Dummy is here. Pingu is here. The Communist Spy. Oh, no, sorry. Not Communist Spy. No, I'm sorry. And Pingu has an announcement, guys. Pingu has actually is now officially joined Briggs. He joined official Briggs. He's now representing the Antarctica Penguin Alliance. So he's representing the penguins now as part of Briggs, and hoping for more economic and institutional values. So congratulations, Pingu, on your appointment. I'm sure you'll have plenty of discussions with other leaders in Briggs. So I'm very, very happy for him. So yeah, we'll definitely have more discussions. I'm sure that Pingu will have more discussions with Briggs about his role in more in the future, guys. Oh, Mr. E, thank you so much for the £5 super chat. Thanks for your work, Ethnic, and all the uploads. Just look after yourself and those dear to you. Thank you, Mr. E. I appreciate that. I appreciate that indeed. Yeah. Yeah, I've that's why I did it a bit earlier today, just so I can rest for the rest of the evening. But yeah, tomorrow I've got quite a lot to do. But no, I appreciate your support, guys. I really, really do. And I've got something really exciting to announce as well on Friday, which is the birthday live stream on 7 o'clock. Friday lights with me. We're going to have a lot of fun, guys. So do join me on Friday for the birthday live stream. But before that, of course, we've got 2 live streams tomorrow. And of course, we've got the big round table, or mountaintop as it's now called, with a bunch of fantastic YouTubers and YouTubers around the table. So do join us for that on Thursday at 8 p.m. as well. So plenty of stuff to go this as well, guys. So, but just before I go, I just have one last thing to say. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. And share this across social media so others are notified of this live stream. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further and financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.